Parent-teacher conferences happen just a few times a year, but parents really need to establish a good way to communicate with teachers other than just at those times. So in Parenting Today, how to stay on top of any issues that come up with your child at school. Well, school is well underway, and one of the things we want to make sure we establish as parents is just having a good relationship with the school administration or the teachers your kids have. So what are some, you're a former teacher. What are some good rules of thought to keep in mind as parents in establishing that kind of a relationship?
Well, first and foremost, keep an open dialogue. Keep that path of communication going back and forth. Might be emails. I know some parents that text teachers from time to time just to check in. Visits, especially when the kids are a little bit younger, it's a little bit easier to do.
I will say too, just from my experience, it's a great time too if you can. You get to know other kids really well too if you can volunteer a little bit. If you can volunteer, spend some time there, you get to know what kids your kids are hanging out with it as well. But you said it's important also to not necessarily just contact a teacher when you think there's a problem.
You know, I think when that child comes home and says, hey, I aced that test, or man, we dissected a pig today, or we did something cool in PE class, take that 30 seconds to a minute and just let that teacher know. I know from a teacher perspective, it was so nice to get those quick little emails. Hey, really appreciate the hard work. And I think that that'll go a long way if a problem does arise later on to have that communication rolling.
All right, so let's say a small problems come up. Your child is telling you one thing. You're hearing something else from the teacher.
Oh, that happens.
What's a parent supposed to do?
A general rule, and again, this is general, even the best kids stretch the truth a little bit. Let's believe the teacher. Let's believe the teacher. We live in an area where we have awesome education here. And let's believe that teacher. And let's go further and ask the teacher, what do you think might help? Get the teacher's input. And ultimately, try not to own the problem as the parent, but try to allow that child, give them the gift, I call it the gift of responsibility, and let them own that problem.
All right, so how do you do that though? How do you give them, like you said, what are some guidelines to giving that child their own problem back?
5 big steps.
Okay.
And the first one is respond with empathy. So a kid, it could be any problem. And so if that child tells me something, I might say, oh buddy, that's a tough one. Right? That's my empathetic phrase. Then I go into the sending the power message. Here's the phrase that I teach parents. Would you like to hear what some kids have tried? There's a key word there, some. Not, well, here's what you should do.
Gotcha.
Right? That's not owning, that's me owning the problem instead of trying to give it to the child. Then I offer some ideas. Well, some kids decide to meet with Mr. Johnson in the morning, for example. And then we ask about the results. I love this phrase. How do you think that's going to work? Because we want our child to think about cause and effect. If I do this, how is that going to affect my future? And finally, give them permission to solve their problem. Let them own it. And I'll say something like, let me know how it goes. Good luck.
All right, very good.
And then I slowly walk away.
All right, so that's how to give the problem back to your child, steps to get it done as well. And hopefully if you get a chance, you can try to volunteer at your school and kind of see what's going on, build those relationships with your kids' teachers. And if you want to know more about some different parenting tips, you can always head to our website at news8000.com.